Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Macca here, and welcome to my 100% full game walkthrough for Bright Memory. In this video, I'll take you through the entire campaign, show you all of the achievements and all of the collectibles as well. One important note is that there is an achievement for beating this game a second and third time, but you should be able to easily do it in under 2 hours total. This game launched on November 10th, 2020 for a price of $7.99, and it kind of functions a little bit like a trailer to a bigger and longer game called Bright Memory Infinite coming at some point down the line. Now, from the main menu, you may want to adjust some of your settings. I found that I would prefer a slightly more sensitive game at the beginning, and obviously I also play inverted, and then you can just load up and start a new game. Now, this game functions like a traditional first-person shooter, but there are also some mechanics because it is set in the future where you can do things like use an energy sword, EMP enemies, and even freeze time. So we'll be playing with all of those mechanics right off the bat. There is a little bit of a story, and you can't skip any of the story sections, so just wait until you gain control of your character.
For one to survive, the other must be sacrificed.
Shelia, have you found anything?
Just a special ID card. Nothing else that I can see.
At this point, we will jump right into the action. You'll get a pistol with 3 enemies directly in front of you, so make sure you take them out. This game does have aim down sight, and it does by default lock and toggle. Instead of having to hold the left trigger, you just press it. As soon as you take out the enemies, turn around and look on the ground behind you to find your first of 7 collectibles. This collectible is supposed to unlock an achievement, but it is a little bit wonky. Don't worry, it will for sure unlock for you. It just doesn't unlock at the proper time. It'll either unlock at the end of the game, or it'll unlock when you restart the game. You are now ready to move forward and hack the door. After you hack the door, you'll be introduced to the EMP mechanic, which we'll be using a lot. And you'll also get your kind of traditional assault rifle / SMG, which is basically the only weapon I'll use in the game. You can use a shotgun in the pistol, but I really didn't find a good reason to do that. One thing I would recommend is that you go for headshots. There is an achievement for getting a total of 30. We'll kill like over 100 enemies in the game, but it's nice to just quickly work on them as you make your way through the game. Try to land as many headshots as possible, and once you clear all of the enemies, go and interact with the computer at the back of the room for a little bit more story.
There may still be time. Huh? No way.
Long time no see, Shelia.
Carter, why are you...
I advise you to stay out of this matter. Wake was as stubborn as you are.
What the hell happened here?
At this point, we will regain control of our character, and there will be a collectible very close by. So from the start, you're actually going to have to turn around and head the other way. Don't make the same mistake I did by thinking you have to platform in front of you. You will unfortunately fall and have to restart. There aren't too many penalties for dying in this game, luckily, so you don't have to have too much skill. As you walk forward, look to the right-hand side, and 2 wolves will come out of a cave, so make sure you take care of them. and then walk into that cave to find our second out of 7 collectibles. Make sure you press X to pick it up and then press X to resume, and you should see a small notification in the top left as well. Now you'll have a small tutorial as to how the sword works. You can use the right bumper to use your blade, and this is a very powerful and useful tool. You're going to tap RB to send out like these electric pulses of your blade, and you can also press down in the D-pad to do a blast, which will make enemies kind of soar into the sky, and it works similar to an EMP. It's a great way to get a bunch of enemies to be taken care of all at once. As soon as you take out the 2 big creatures, a couple of these sword zombies will spawn, and you'll be taught about dodging, which you do with the B button as you press a directional pad. Now what I'm going to do here is take care of a couple of the enemies and go through the tutorial. I am going to go for those headshots as I do need 30 of them. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5 perfect dodges. So I'm going to wait until an enemy attacks me, and as soon as they do, I'm going to dodge out of the way. After I get 5 dodges, I should unlock another achievement. Additionally, as you kill an enemy, they will drop a pool of XP. Make sure you walk over it in order to grab it. So I'm just going to continue dodging, and after that unlocks, I'm going to take out all of the enemies with headshots, and then we can move on.
Air Serpent? It looks like it's flying toward the light.
After taking care of all of the enemies and picking up all of the XP, a new path should open up based on a kind of animal that flew over and extinguished the fire. At this point, you can press back and look at your abilities menu. It's up to you what abilities you go for. There are a couple you will definitely need, but by the time you play the game once and twice, you should pretty much have everything. I decided to go with the Junkman that will allow me to earn XP at a faster rate. At this point, there will be a Grapple Jump. Instead, jump down, you'll notice a turtle, and next to that turtle, there is a collectible. This will be the Disc Fragment, and this is number 3 of 7 for me. You can now travel back up and grapple across the gap.
The grapple should be able to get me to the other side. The entrance to a cave. Where does it lead? All these soldiers' remains. What happened here?
You will then follow the path and make your way into this arena where a bunch of enemies will spawn. Just take care of them using headshots and try to stay alive. I would also highly recommend that you use a lot of dodges. And if you do ever find yourself in a pickle, feel free to use your sword, do the blast slash, and also don't forget about your EMP. It can really help you out. Just take your time and work through the enemies. And at the end of the battle, we should have enough XP to make a couple of upgrades as well.
They came back? So there really is a substance that can regenerate life. Just like the doctor said.
At this point, we are shown a puzzle and we have to solve it. If you have enough XP, I would recommend either getting the time freeze or the release limit ability. I ended up getting hit, so I lost a couple of XP points. But for the puzzle, start with the right-hand side platform and line up the right-hand side line. After that happens, that's the inner one, by the way, move to the furthest left platform and line up the furthest left line with the outer ring. Once that lines up, you can go to the middle platform and line up the middle ring with the middle line, and that will open up this area in order for us to proceed.
Nailed it.
You've now opened up a new door, and you'll have to crouch and wade through some water to get to it. It will tell you about a tactical flashlight you have. I pretty much completely ignored this mechanic as I found it pretty much useless. You can also look through your abilities like I mentioned earlier, but before going through the next door, make sure you pick up the next collectible, our 4th of 7, which is located on the platform to the right before breaking through this wooden door. And it is the Air Serpent Statue. Make sure you get that little notification in the top left that you unlocked it. Walk forward, get a small story sequence, and we can now EMP through the door and grapple across the gap. I believe if you fail this grapple section, it may or may not respawn the collectible, so keep that in mind. You'll now drop into some fog, and you will be attacked by a bunch of these kind of military people. Just use that sword, use your EMP, use your dodge, everything you've been learning to stay alive and kill as many as you can. You should be able to do this. If you fail again, there isn't really a big penalty. You'll just respawn and you get to try again. You may lose a couple of your experience points that you may be saving up for an upgrade though, which kinda sucks. After you take care of all of the enemies, a couple more enemies will spawn. This time it'll be this big monster guy, I forget what his name is, and a bunch of the zombies will also spawn from the ground. So just make sure you're moving around a lot, doing a lot of damage, and make sure you don't accidentally dash off of the edge of the map. Once you take care of all of these, make sure you grab all the experience points on the ground, and we can move forward now. Now, during this fight, I am going to unlock an achievement for maintaining an SSS rank for at least 30 seconds or more. It's called Master of Operations, and you may unlock it as well here, but there is a way easier way to unlock it coming up, so absolutely don't worry if you don't have it yet. You'll get it at the first boss battle, pretty much guaranteed. If not on your first playthrough, then definitely on your second. So after that fight, you should now be able to grapple across. You can use your EMP on some flames, take care of the 3 enemies that come through, and directly in front of you, there is something to interact with, but don't do that yet. Instead, look down and to the left to find our 5th of 7 collectibles. This is the dog tag, and now we can interact with the lever to open up the drawbridge. At the top of the drawbridge, some enemies will spawn. The flying enemies are pretty easy to take out. They don't have a lot of health, but they are very, very annoying if you let them fly around and attack you. So I'd definitely recommend focusing on them as soon as you can, and then take care of all of the zombies, mop up everyone, and you'll also maybe get the sharpshooter achievement for 30 or more headshots. Don't worry, lots more opportunities for that as well. With the fight completed, you can EMP through the wooden door and work your way through. You can also go into your upgrade menu. I would probably recommend getting time freeze pretty soon. You can also grab the release limit, which is in the latency tab. And I would recommend not going for the one that does more damage, as we will need to do an achievement that actually becomes a little bit harder if you do more damage. After you go across this bridge, make sure you look left right away before going through the door in order to find our 6th of 7 collectibles, the Jade Statue. Only after you have the Jade Statue would you want to interact with the lever. This will open up a door, present us an orb where we can teleport to our first of 2 boss battles. This one is pretty easy in my opinion, and also where you will get the SSS rank for 30 seconds achievement as long as you don't fail the fight. Now, this fight is a little bit long and there isn't really too many mechanics. All you want to do is keep unloading on this enemy with headshots and make sure you dodge as many times as possible so that you can stay alive, obviously. About halfway through their health bar, some zombies will also start spawning from the ground, which aren't too hard, but you can definitely farm them for some easy headshot kills if you want, but you definitely don't have to. For this boss, you want to dodge. That kind of opens them up a little bit for some headshots. You'll notice that there is some bullets do red damage versus some do white damage. The red damage does more, so you want to try to get that as much as possible. Use the EMP and the sword in order to, be able to attack at a distance. And you'll notice my SSS rank in the top right corner has been going on for at least 30 seconds now. So if I didn't have that Master of Operations achievement, I'd probably be unlocking it right now. And just keep going, keep farming the boss. Don't worry about the zombies too much. If you take care of the boss, all of the zombies will die alongside him, and then you can just kind of exit the area. Make sure you grab all the XP before exiting the area, though.
It's too fast. I can't keep up.
With the boss taken care of, you will unlock an achievement. All of the zombies should disappear, and they will leave behind pools of experience, which you will probably want to grab. Once you have all of the experience grabbed, you can interact with the orb that the boss dropped in order to leave the area. If you have enough experience to do so, I'd recommend buying Time Freeze, Release Limit, and the XP increase in my skills menu. Now we can back up, and we're going to go kind of backtrack a little bit from where we were. So we're going to drop down the ledge, and we can continue. Now, I ended up buying the Overload ability. I knew I was going to have enough experience for everything I wanted anyways, and this one was cheaper, so I just went with it before moving on. It basically just allows you to get airborne while shooting and using your sword. There is an achievement called Jet Setter for having a total time in the air of 10 seconds or more. It is a little bit wonky in the sense that you will basically are guaranteed to unlock it during the story, but just in case you don't, I'll show you the proper and real way to get it during the final boss battle, and I will need that ability just in case. But after I leave and take care of a couple of the flying enemies, I'll jump down and start beginning to slide down a rocky hill. At the end, there is a grapple. Grab that grapple and just swing back and forth until the Jet Setter achievement unlocks. It should pretty much happen right away, but if it doesn't, don't worry, I'll show you how to get it the legit way. Once you land, some enemies will spawn, so let's take care of them business as usual.
Stay alert. There's treasure under the stone tower. Do whatever it takes to find it.
Looks like we found something.
With the enemies taken care of, the gate will open and we can start to move forward, but everything will begin to collapse. So start sprinting, the floor will collapse beneath us, so we will have to grapple across this gap, which can be a little bit weird and kind of glitchy. So if you fall, unfortunately, you'll have to kind of restart that jump sequence. But you'll make it into this room, you'll get a small little cutscene, and there will be a ton of stuff to do in this room, actually.
Don't let her get away.
Once you regain control of your character, just take out all of the enemies as quickly as possible, making sure to stay alive if you can. You can obviously work on headshots if you still need them, so you'll want to do that. And that's about it for this room for now. With everyone taken care of in the room, you will see a platform descend from the middle of the ceiling, and we will need to navigate to it. There is something important to do on the way to there, and what we'll do is from where we entered, we can hop up on the ledge to our left, and we will take our weapon and shoot at one of these candles, which will extinguish them and get us the Too Damn Busy achievement worth 120. Just follow the platforms now in order to get to the top of the room and jump on the hanging platform to lower it.
Carter seems to have left. Why did he give up on solving the puzzle? The chains on the pillars look useful. Now I might be able to climb up on the crane.
Once the platform lowers, a bunch of enemies will start spawning in waves, so we're going to take care of them. This fight could be difficult, but it's actually not that bad in my opinion. Just use those best practices, that EMP, the sword. Make sure you take out the flying enemies as quickly as possible, as they are the most annoying when it comes to damaging you and you don't know how or where from. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, you should be done the fight. And there are a few more things we'll quickly grab achievements for, so make sure you stay tuned.
statue must be the treasure.
Now,
part of
before
what's
leaving this room, make sure you use all of the experience you have. There's a boss fight, you might take damage, you might lose your XP. I'd recommend having Junkman, Overload, Time Freeze, and the Release Limit abilities currently unlocked if you have the proper amount of XP. If you don't, it's okay, it's not a big deal. You can also increase your defense if you want. And this in front of us is a mandatory object, but also collectible number 7 of 7. If you've been following along, you will unlock your achievement right now, and we can move towards the end of the game. Jump through this new open tunnel. There will be a small cutscene, a little bit of stuff goes on, and we will pretty much be in our last boss battle. I hope by now you do have your 30 headshots. If you don't, that's okay. There are more zombies to come, and you will have to do a second and third playthrough. Hopefully you have your SSS rank for 30 seconds or longer. If not, don't worry, you can do it on your second or third playthrough. And for the final boss battle, I don't think personally it's that difficult, but it isn't that easy either. There is a decent chance you may not survive your first try. The absolute most important mechanic for this boss battle is to dodge at the right time and EMP in order to gain as much distance from the boss as possible. I also start with the release limit, which as you can see does an insane amount of damage if you can get those critical hits, which are right in the middle of the body. And we want to make sure we go between the sword and the EMP and dodges and everything. Now this boss does have 2 life bars, so after this first phase, they will reanimate to a second phase. Keep that in mind. The second phase has a couple of zombies running around at the bottom, as well as some flames shooting out of the sides of the walls. Now here is also a really good opportunity to grab the Jet Setter achievement if you didn't automatically grab it during the playthrough. That's the achievement for being airborne for 10 seconds, and it automatically unlocks during one of the story sequences. But if you don't have it yet, what I would recommend doing is holding your jump button to double jump and then shoot downwards at the boss, and then use your sword and swing your sword downwards at the boss. This will allow you to basically fly and stay off of the ground for as long as you need. You'll see me do it right here. It's not like the perfect way to do it, but it works pretty well as long as you time it right and you go between a reload of the gun and the sword. Staying off the ground also makes it a lot easier to not get hit by the zombies and the fire, but just take care of the boss and we are almost done. There's a couple more things to do though, so stay tuned again. Now you will unlock an achievement for defeating the final boss, and you will still have some achievements left. There is one achievement for grabbing the first collectible, which if it didn't unlock for you right at the beginning of the game, it actually unlocks right at the end of the game. So there's that. There is another achievement you're probably missing for doing a second playthrough of the game. There's a third achievement you're probably missing for doing a third playthrough of the game. And there is likely an achievement you're missing called Killer Combo, which I specifically left for the second or third playthrough, as we will need a decent amount of upgrades, and we're going to do the achievement in one of the beginning areas of the campaign, so we will have to do it on that second playthrough. I'll show you it the easiest way I could find out how to do it.
These corpses don't look like they were killed by those monsters. The blood on the ground looks fresh. Not much time has passed. Who are they? Why have these people been hanged here? I hope Wake's okay.
Now, at the main menu, do not press New Game. Instead, press Continue if you want to get the second run and third run achievements to unlock. So, since we're going for that, we're going to go to Continue Plus, and I'm going to show you exactly where we can grab the Killer Combo achievement. It's going to be located near one of the beginning areas of the game, and you pretty much need to have Release Limit, the sword, and Time Freeze available to you if you want it to be as easy as possible. The best opportunity for this comes right after you destroy the wooden gates to get into this area with the two kind of tiger-winged creatures. Take care of the first one, and if you do fail on the second one, just reload the last checkpoint. This could take you 5 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on a couple of factors. Now, take care of the first enemy as quickly as possible. Bring out your sword and do a blast slash on the other enemy. As they fall into you, do your release limit by pressing in the left and right stick and juggle the enemy with a couple of your bullets up high in the sky. As they begin falling at a rapid pace, use your EMP and turn it into a time freeze to freeze them into the sky. Then, as they fall, do another blast slash to keep them juggled even longer, and if done for 15 seconds or more, you will unlock the achievement. There is a little bit of luck involved as they don't always go that high, but with a little bit of trial and error and making sure you don't rush through all of your abilities, you should be able to grab it. At this point, all you should have left is completing the game a second and third time, which hopefully you can do in under 1 hour. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to drop a like, share the video with a friend. A special thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace!